So you think you might be a multiple. Now what? I'm Jenna, and we're the D.I.D system. Let's talk about it. One of the questions that I get asked frequently is, I think I might have O.S.D.D. I think I might have D.I.D. I think I'm a multiple. Now what? What do I do? I'm scared. This is so overwhelming. What does this mean? I want to start off by saying it's okay to be afraid. It's a lot. And your whole life, you thought one thing about your existence. It's overwhelming, and it's okay. It's okay to be overwhelmed, and it's okay to be scared. Find support. You may not be able, in your situation, to find support safely among family or friends. There are good communities online. I found Reddit great for answering questions. There's a very large community of us on TikTok. There's lots of Discords. Do be careful, because multiples have trauma and we have trauma responses. So when you go into these communities, just follow good online safety and keep yourself safe. If things start getting heated, that probably isn't the community for you. I found for me that I did not like the dynamics on Facebook communities, but others have had really good interactions on those. So find the community that works for you and where you're at. On support, find a therapist. If at all possible, one who specializes in D.I.D. I've done a video about finding a therapist, and I should be able to link it in one of these corners. If you're in the United States, there are ways to get free therapy. That is where I started because I could not afford therapy. I've had a lot of people go, oh, it must be nice to have therapy money. I did not have therapy money. And starting in a free therapy environment, some places, some counseling centers get grants for low income, and universities that offer majors in psychology often do it as part of their master's program. So the first thing you'll be doing in therapy, regardless of whether you can find a specialist or not, is safety and stability. And you can get that in a free clinic as well as and I have had both, and I can tell you the quality at that beginning stage was equal, if not better, at the university, because they had like all the newest whatever tools and ideas. So therapy. Find a therapist, if at all possible, one who specializes in dissociative disorders, because maybe you're not sure if you have O.S.D.D. or D.I.D. A therapist who specializes in dissociative disorders might say, well, you're more along the spectrum with BPD, or you definitely have complex trauma, but not sure if it's, or they could also say, we've done the mid, you for sure have D.I.D. A specialist not only will give you the best care, but also be much more equipped to tell you what kind of diagnosis you have. And a diagnosis is not necessary. I've seen a lot of people online saying, I'm not diagnosed yet. That's not necessary. You will have just as much denial whether you get diagnosed or not. Denial is a component of the disorder. So if you feel like you're faking, guess what? That's a symptom of the disorder, and it doesn't go away. It's been years now. I am professionally diagnosed. I have taken the little assessment things. I have a YouTube channel. I still have plenty of denial. So I'm sorry, it sucks. I have a video, and I should link it, on helping with denial. because it's here to stay. Learning to cope with that will be something that is part of your day-to-day life. So, other than therapy support, get to know your system. It's vital. Guess what? I've done a video on that, breaking it down. The first step is communication, and you can try asking back. Journals are extremely helpful. We did ours on video, and that's how we got to know each other. But first and foremost, try and get to know the alters, the team, the parts, whatever word is most at home with you. Try and get to know these others who are sharing life with you. It will make everything easier if you can at least understand where they're coming from. You don't have to agree with where they're coming from, but just understanding will facilitate things. And nobody gets to tell you how to be a system. People will say, should I use plural pronouns or not? That's up to you and your system. For us, some of us do and some of us don't, and other times it's situational. What you decide for you and your system is whatever works best for you, what you're most comfortable with, what makes sense. Nobody gets to dictate how you operate within this framework. Nobody gets to tell you what you call your team, and that may evolve. So usually I call them my team, not my system. I tend to call them my parts or my teammates, not alters. But for a good long time, I called them alters. No one tells you what works best for you. It's okay. Whatever works in your mind. You might have triggers to certain words. It might be upsetting for your teammates to be called parts or to be called alters or to be called friends. Like, they might have specific things they want to be referred to as. No one tells you how to be plural. No one tells you what works best for you. As part of the discovery process, finding these things out, and you're valid no matter how you go about it. You're valid if you use singular pronouns, and you're valid if you use plural. You're valid if you call them alters or if you call them parts. You're valid even if you go about your day-to-day life and nobody knows you're a system. No one tells you when it's safe to tell friends, family, coworkers if it's safe. That's something you decide. You can be living as a singlet and can be completely valid. You can be totally out and tell everyone without any kind of embarrassment and be completely valid. This is something that you will have to figure out what works for you. And what works for you is what it means to be a system for you. Switches. Switches look different for each system. There's usually some commonality. Switches can be fast, they can be slow, they can be easy, they can be difficult. How you switch does not make you any more or less valid than another system. Another system that switches very differently from you does not make them any more or less valid than another system. Because this disorder is extremely individualized. It is created in the mind of a child for safety and protection and looks wildly different from person to person. If you have mostly introjects that are fictives, you're just as valid as someone who has no introjects who are fictives. If you have non-human alters, or if you don't have non-human alters, if you have an inner world, or if you don't have an inner world, all of these things are extremely individualized to the person, and they don't make you any more or less valid. And it's really important to me that you know that you are valid as a system, whether you have these things, whether you have one alter or hundreds, you are still a system. And you're still going to be part of this community and wrestling with the things that we all wrestle with. Some of us wrestle with them in different contexts than others. but you're still valid. And finally, hang in there. It's so hard and so overwhelming in the beginning. I remember there was just so much and I was so afraid and I didn't know what to do. It gets better. As you learn to communicate with your team and you find support and you do therapy, therapy is so life-changing. If at all possible, and I know sometimes it's not, but as soon as it is, find a good therapist. I promise you, it gets better. It's not always this hard. It's not always this scary and overwhelming. I know right now it seems like life is over, but it's not. You can be every bit as happy and functional as someone who does not have a dissociative disorder. And it might seem impossible to you right now, but I promise you it's true. I'm sending you all the love. Hang in there. Leave in the comments if you have any questions, and I will try and make videos specifically that answer those if I haven't already. Like I said, hang in there. You'll get to the other side of this. I'll catch you later. Questions I get asked so frequently. While there is an animal dancing around my feet and they will not settle down so that I can do this. And it's really annoying to me. And I think that if I just keep talking, maybe that they'll settle down. So that's what I'm doing right now. There they go. Okay. There we go. We'll try this again. Shake it off. Now she's pressing buttons. I still get nervous about doing these. I think it's been 2 years that I've been doing this channel. I still get nervous about making these. So anyway, shake it off. Behind the scenes with the D.I.D system. Also, I'm a goofball. A silly, silly goofball. Okay, excuse me. Okay, looking over my list. And finally, hang in there. I say it all the time, but it gets better. I promise you, it gets better. It's so hard and so overwhelming in the beginning. It's not always this scary and overwhelming. How do I sign off, huh? I've been doing this for years. I don't know.